Paul McCartney. This is my report on the world-renowned singer-songwriter Sir James Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney's childhood family. Sir James Paul McCartney was born on June 18, 1942 in Liverpool, England. Paul lived with his mom and dad, although his father, James, was on the move a lot, working for various jobs, trying to earn money for the family during a difficult time. It was World War II, and England was deeply involved in the battles. Paul's mom, Mary, was a qualified nurse who started studying for the position at age 14. She's the namesake of a few songs by Paul, including Let It Be. The McCartneys lived a modest life as a middle-class family. Paul's mom, Mary, was deeply Catholic, so because of her beliefs, Paul and his brother were baptized. Paul's parents weren't very strict in their house about religion, though. On the left, you can see a picture of Paul McCartney with his late mother Mary and younger brother Peter. On the right, you can see young Paul McCartney with his late father, James McCartney. Paul McCartney's childhood. Paul's childhood was full of music. His father played the trumpet, and eventually, Paul taught himself how to play several instruments, including the guitar, the piano, and learned how to write his own songs. Paul had a happy childhood for the most part, but tragedy struck when his mom died of cancer when Paul was only 15. After her death, Paul lived with his father and brother. Despite the loss of their mother, Paul and his brother had a very uncomplicated, happy childhood. On the right, you can see Paul McCartney and his younger brother Peter. Paul McCartney's education. Before he became a singing sensation, Paul McCartney spent his weekdays in school like most kids. Paul's first schooling was at Stockton Wood Road Primary School, which he attended from 1947 to 1949. Then, due to overcrowding at Stockton, Paul transferred to Joseph Williams Jr. School. Paul was extremely smart. In fact, he was part of a small group of 3 students out of 90 to pass an exam which enabled him to attend the prestigious Liverpool Institute. Eventually, Paul met George Harrison, a future member of the Beatles, on a bus ride, and they became best friends. Paul may have been knowledgeable, but he struggled with certain subjects, including math and science. Who influenced Paul McCartney? Paul was influenced to pursue his passion of music by singers like Elvis Presley and Little Richard. These legends helped revolutionize rock and roll and were the heroes of many young people in the 1940s and 50s. Elvis was commonly known as the king of rock and roll, and Little Richard was known to be one of the most passionate singers of the era. These singers not only influenced Paul, but they influenced the other members of the Beatles too. Why is Paul McCartney famous? Paul McCartney is famous for his musical talent and accomplishments. Paul can play over 40 instruments from all over the world. McCartney saw his first success as a member of the Beatles. Paul played the bass and was the lead singer of many of the Beatles' notable songs, including Hey Jude, Get Back, and Let It Be. The Beatles' estimated album sales are over 600 million. Paul, John, George, and Ringo, aka the Beatles, will go down in the history books as one of the greatest bands of all time. Their music influenced many up-and-coming singers, including Michael Jackson, the future king of pop, George Michael, and so many others. McCartney is also famous for his solo songs and his 10 years as the lead singer of the band Wings. How has Paul McCartney changed the world? Paul McCartney's accomplishments have affected the world in a monumental way. Through his music, he's affected the lives of millions of people. Paul, along with the other Beatles, not only revolutionized music, but their music comforted people through their darkest times and happiest days. Paul McCartney has been sharing his music with the world for over 7 decades. Paul's success hasn't come just as a member of the Beatles. A lot of his success comes from his solo music. Through his music, he speaks out for the natural rights everybody, whether a human or animal, should have. He's spoken out for racial justice, animal rights, and peace. He's done all of this through his music and fame. You could say that he's a musical activist. Paul's accomplished things that many musicians wish they could have done. Paul's been knighted by the Queen of England, he's won over 34 awards for his musical prowess, and received the Library of Congress Gershwin Prize from Barack Obama. Paul's done it all, and has not only paved the way for music today, but he's changed the way people think about music. On the top right, you can see Paul McCartney being awarded the Gershwin Prize from Barack Obama, and on the bottom, you can see all of the Beatles, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, being awarded some records. Paul McCartney's life today. Paul McCartney is still alive today, and at age 79, Paul still writes music and helps produce shows. He's helped produce shows like Get Back, which is a Beatles documentary streaming on Disney+, a reissue of Flaming Pie, and a Netflix film called High in the Clouds. Paul's music career is in full swing. He continues to sing, write, and produce music, including a new album, McCartney, which is the 50th anniversary release of his very first album. Paul has just announced his US 2022 tour schedule, and crowds are still cheering for the cute one, Paul McCartney, at the top of their lungs. Paul wrote a 900-page lyrical autobiography. The novel features all the lyrics from all of Paul McCartney's songs. The book became a #1 bestseller on the day it came out. Paul has done so much in his prestigious life, and he is not done. He's in great shape because he exercises regularly and is a vegetarian. And that's all, folks. Be sure to subscribe for more reports on famous people, and I'll see you in the next one.